The best place to see vintage motorcycles in 2010 will be the Minnesota State Fairgrounds during the second weekend in June for the largest antique motorcycle display in the Midwest. For 36 years, the Viking chapter of the Antique Motorcycle Club of America has invited everyone interested in history, old machines, and classic bikes to join them at their national meet. Their indoor display of old iron tops 180 antique bikes and includes 7 decades of bikes from around the world. In 2010, the Viking chapter will display a collection of motorcycles made in Minnesota. It will be a reunion of bikes not seen together in over 70 years. Everyone knows that Polaris has been making their Victory line of motorcycles right here in our own backyard. Some of you may remember the brief reincarnation of Excelsior Henderson made here in the late 90s. But did you know that the history of building bikes in Minnesota goes back to the early decades of the 20th century? There were over 7 brands of bikes built here in those days: the Michelson, Cyclone, Eagle, Theme, Minneapolis, Wagner, and Comet. The Cyclone motorcycle is perhaps the most famous of these bikes from the early days of board track racing. Its Hemi-head single overhead cam V-twin design was cutting-edge technology back in its day. It was capable of over 110 miles per hour and was for a time the fastest motorcycle on the planet. These priceless machines are some of the most sought-after motorcycles, having fetched over $500,000 at auction. This June will be a once-in-a-lifetime chance for you to see these amazing machines, joined once again by their Minnesota-made brethren at the site of their glory days of racing, the State Fairgrounds. The racers are gone, but their bikes remain testament to their daring and skill. During the Viking chapter's national meet, you'll not only see the bikes, but be able to take a walk back in history through an amazing collection of large, museum-quality reproductions of motorcycling photos from the first 7 decades of the 20th century. The Viking chapter is working with the Minnesota Historical Society to bring their collection to life through this amazing display of photos from dirt track races, gypsy tours, hill climbs, rallies, and dealerships. If you bought a motorcycle in the Twin Cities area, come on down to the Minnesota State Fairgrounds the second weekend in June to relive that experience through their amazing display of antique bikes and photos of Minnesota motorcycle dealerships both past and present. The Viking chapter invites you to ride to the meet, but rain or shine, the meet is indoors. So come on down and see the greatest antique motorcycle display in the upper Midwest. More details on our website, vikingmc.org.